All right, I'm Dave Rat, and I'm continuing the adventure of chasing audio gremlins, and this may be helpful. Today we're going to talk about things that cause problems that shouldn't cause problems. They may be hidden in your system and you don't know it and know why, or even that they exist. What I've got set up here is a signal generator, 300 hertz. It's set at 1.7 volts, a little function generator. It's coming out of that into this little analog Behringer board. Out of that, it's going into a hardwire split. This Y connector, one side of the Y connector is going into this other little analog board, and out of that into a Tascam recorder, and I've got my headphones plugged into the recorder so I can hear what you're hearing when I bring that up in the video. The other side of the Y connector is showing up here, and with just a cable sitting on top of this Behringer X32 console. Over here I've got a scope, and we're monitoring what's coming out of this little board, and we can see it on this little GoPro that I'll bring up for you. And then I've got an overhead too where we can look at the whole setup. So if I bring this tone up, I can hear it here in the headphones, and you should be able to hear it too, because I'll bring it up in the video. And we hear a nice, clear 300 hertz tone. Now, I am going to turn on this console and plug into it. And the X32 is booting up, and it is all good. We continue to hear the tone, and we'll look at the scope here, and we can see that it holds its sine wave shape. I think this will mute it, but let's try it. Yeah, that'll mute it because it's going through that. Okay, watch what happens when I turn off the X32. Let's look at the scope, turn it on. As you can see, the wave squashes down. Can you hear that? We hear distortion. Look what happens when I unplug it. This is crazy. This board is off, but it's in line. Unless it's on, it is causing problems for a signal plugged into this board here. So we've got a hardwire split. This would not be uncommon for a venue where you've got a front of house and monitor board. Let's say you've got two X32s, two M32s, M32, X32, or whatever consoles, or maybe it works with multiple. I know it actually works with some other consoles I tested. You've got your front of house and monitor console, and you're not using the monitor console today, so you turn it off. But it's still plugged into your hardwire split. That off console is loading down your splitter system, and it will do the same thing with a transformer split as well. That off console can load down the input and cause distortion on the other console, even though it is not on, or especially because it's not on. This is kind of a cool little gremlin to find and something to be aware of. Now, this issue seems to be reduced when it is driven at lower volume. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in so we get the distortion. And I'm going to bring down, I'm at 1.7 volts now, peak to peak. And around 1 volt, it's clean. And if we look at the scope, it makes almost no difference. If I bring this up to a higher voltage, and we hear the distortion, and if I turn it on, back to good again. All right. Interesting and cool stuff. What do you think of that? Maybe this is something that's tricked you or got you or bit you. Maybe it's something you never noticed, and now you're going to be able to bump things up a notch. I don't know anywhere else I've heard this, but I'm hoping it is helpful to you. And thank you for joining me on Audio Gremlin Hunt number whatever.